Hi, Dr. Lou Pulsfer here to talk about separating games from reality. Some people don't, and yet games are one of the primary examples of a deliberate separation from the real world, from reality. Game studies people talk about the magic circle. The game is inside the magic circle, and inside that circle you act according to certain rules, both unwritten, as in how to behave properly while playing a game, how to be a decent human being, and written rules. And the outside world ideally has no effect. So moral choices are not part of playing the game. It's separate from moral choices. A key in the game, and maybe the key, is the ability to do in the game as you could not or would not do in reality. You don't have to do things, but you can. To me, people who can't separate games from reality have a serious problem and maybe shouldn't play certain games. Now, why has this question come up? I read some bloggers who were trashing Cards Against Humanity. And they were trashing it because they didn't approve of its not safe for work, edgy attitude. Now, it's not a game I'd play at age 64 because it's a party game. I have watched college students play, and I've talked with them as they played. These are people that I know, and got an idea of what they're going about. Yes, it can be offensive, but college-age players like that. They like things that are edgy. Maybe that's a reaction to helicopter parents and a security above all mentality in the modern world. They like to go beyond the pale in ways that don't harm anybody. I remember teaching high school students in a college class several years ago, and I was appalled at some of the things they said to each other, especially about race, but they thought nothing of it. And so after a while I got used to it, that they weren't serious about it. This was just how they went about doing things. And that's the key to Cards Against Humanity. But we get these bloggers saying that it's offensive and this is wrong, and they give the impression they think it should be not merely ignored but banned. So political correctness lives. Now, in one discussion, somebody said that this kind of diatribe against Cards Against Humanity was not censorship because there was no coercive power. I disagree. There's a coercive and corrosive power in strong opinion. And we can think of examples. The example that comes to my mind, because I went to Duke for graduate school, is the Duke University lacrosse program was treated in 2005-2006 as though the players were horrible people. It nearly destroyed the program. The players were later entirely exonerated, and the district attorney was disbarred. But because of those strong opinions, the program was nearly canceled, stopped. The idea that innocent till proven guilty doesn't seem to exist anymore, and that corrosive and coercive opinion went a long way. Now, the question becomes then, does the opinionator, I'm going to call him, believe that something is wrong or substandard or bad, and thus the game should be ignored, or does the opinionator think it should be eliminated or stopped? In this case, I thought it was the latter. This is not technically censorship, but certainly appears to be an attempt to censor. Now, let's think about sportsmanship. Where sportsmanship is equated with polite, civilized behavior, fairness, it's what people expect when they play a game. As in, no physical threats or intimidation, no bribes with real money. You assume that everybody has showered lately, that you don't spit on your opponent. There are many other things that are just part of civilized behavior. It's about how the person, the player, acts and behaves, not about how the game assets are employed or behave. Now, even there, we have disagreements about fundamentals. I'd say cheating is wrong and should not be done. It violates the whole idea of a game of playing by the rules, and there's no point in playing a game if there's going to be cheating. But there are people who think that cheating is just part of the game. On the other hand, there are people who won't play games with bluffing or deception, because to them that's immoral and they won't do it even in a game. That's a consequence of failing to separate games from reality. But it's their choice, and they can do it. And we'll talk more about this in part 2.